Cars are great. They are relatively affordable and stylish, they're fun to drive around, and you can pretty much go anywhere using them. Not only they are used for transportation purposes, they also serve as a medium for their owners to express their own individuality. With hundreds of colors and models and endless ways for customization, there is truly something for anyone. Cars are so popular to the point that almost every single person owns and operates one on a daily basis. But cars are only as good as the road they drive on. Along with the popularization of cars, there has been a growing demand for better car infrastructure in the past century. Naturally, our cities and countries have been dedicated more and more resources to our road infrastructure, allowing motorists to enjoy an extremely high level of convenience wherever they go. But this convenience comes at a steep cost. There is nothing wrong with driving inherently, but when millions of people rely on driving as their sole mode of transportation, problems start to arise. Experts call it car dependency, and it has significant social, economical, and environmental impact on our lives, our governments, and our planet. So, exactly how much is car dependency costing us? Most people believe that the widespread adaptation of gas-powered vehicle is one of the main contributors to climate change, and with our transition to electric cars, we'll be able to significantly reduce our impact to the environment. But this is not necessarily true. Turns out, the real environmental cost for car dependency originates from car infrastructures, not the vehicles themselves. While an average gas-powered car produces around 200 grams of CO2 per kilometer, building a stretch of highway of the same length will produce 3,500 metric tons of CO2. In other words, a person would have to drive around the world 416 times to produce the amount of CO2 to construct 1 kilometer of highway. For references, Canada alone has over 1 million kilometers of highway, and we're constantly building more. Transitioning to electric cars would not tackle the fundamental environmental problem of car dependency. It would only be a band-aid on a bullet wound. Car infrastructure fill our city with smog and other cancer-causing gases. They produce constant noise pollution day and night. Car infrastructure completely fractures wildlife habitats, forming impassable barriers for local animal population that leads to roadkills and inbreedings. While none of these problems are technically unsolvable, they are extremely expensive to fix. Wildlife crossing and highway noise barriers don't exactly grow on trees. But even without these environmental considerations, car infrastructure still puts up a significant financial strain on our municipalities and our government budgets. It should come as no surprise that car infrastructures are expensive to build and take up a large part of our municipal and provincial budget. But exactly how expensive is car infrastructure? Nowadays, a signalized intersection costs well over $1 million, and just 1 kilometer of highway costs several $1 million to build. In a car dependency that needs to constantly sprawl in order to meet the housing demands of its population, the building cost of hundreds of kilometers of highway and thousands of intersections adds up very quickly. But the cost doesn't just end there. Like any other piece of infrastructures, roads are built with a design life. After that, the infrastructure starts to crumble and decay and break down and slowly becomes unusable. This is a major problem in Western society where most of our urban infrastructures were built 50-60 years ago and has started to reach the end of their design life. So not only municipalities have to build new roads and highways to serve the ever-expanding urban area, the already existing roads are starting to decay and crumble after years of abuse. In Ontario, the government invested $2.6 billion in their highway network. In Quebec, it cost the government $1.6 billion a year just to maintain the existing roads. Every year, billions of dollars are funneled into an unsustainable road network whose only purpose is to fill our car dependency. And this money comes directly out of the pockets of motorists through petrol taxes and vehicle registration fees. In addition to paying for gas, a lease, and maintenance, this creates a significant financial burden for motorists. In the face of the significant environmental and financial cost, most people might consider other modes of transportation that are more affordable and have a lower environmental impact than cars. But like an abusive relationship, it is incredibly difficult to break away from car dependency. Let's say you live in a small North American city. What modes of transportation are available? Public transit is almost non-existent. There are no buses, no light rail, and if you're lucky, maybe Amtrak or Via Rail serves the city a couple of times per week. What about biking? The meager bike lanes that do exist are disconnected and frankly don't feel very safe. Walking? Shops and offices are a good 30-minute walks away, and you need to cross several large arterial roads to reach it, which means that the only viable means of transportation is to drive. In most parts of North America, driving is a part of daily life. It is a necessity to get anything done, and of course, municipal government will only cater to car users. Why waste the resources on things like buses and bike lanes when people aren't even going to use them? As such, North American cities are designed for car users and for car users only. Car dependency creates more car users creates more traffic creates wider roads catered only to cars, which forces people to become car users. It is a negative feedback loop that endlessly exacerbates itself. Well, if it is a negative loop, why can't we stop it in its infancy? Why can't we just build communities that encourage the use of other modes of transportation? Because of minimum parking standards and conservative highway codes and traffic manual, cities are required to build extremely wide roads to accommodate the existing traffic and all future traffic demands. In other words, cities tend to build over-engineered and over-designed roadways that won't reach anywhere close to their intended capacity for 20 to 30 years. And very few cities actually employs transit-oriented developments. Instead, they let their cities sprawl in all directions, which by then makes building transits and bike lanes and pedestrian pathways all the more difficult. Not only car dependency is extremely costly for our planet and our cities, it is also a problem that if left alone, it is only going to get worse over time. Every new driver, every new car, and every new highway expansion, every new neighborhood that's built in the middle of nowhere contributes to car dependency. And we shall continue to pay the price for it until people realize that unlimited sprawl is not sustainable, and there are other ways to design our cities. Hey folks, thanks for watching another video. If you have enjoyed, please consider to leave a like and subscribe. As always, this is the Transportation Channel, and I'll see you next time.